Hi, this is S.G. Brownlow. So lately I've been having conversations with people about how important it is to master your old emotions. And that's led to sort of two different questions. And I want to answer both of them today. And one of them is, how do you know that an emotion is an old emotion? What exactly constitutes an old emotion? Now that one is really simple to me. Anytime you've got an emotion that's lasted more than 5 minutes and it's still painful and you haven't done anything different and it's no change in behavior, that's an old emotion. That's one that you just need to master and move on. Now the second question is sort of, okay, so what do you mean by master? I don't really understand how you master an emotion, and how do you know that an emotion's been mastered? And that's really going to be the gist of what we're talking about here today. So first I want to talk about why I talk at least about mastering emotions, and that's that we have this idea about, well, we need to regulate emotions, or we need to manage emotions, or and that's nonsense. I mean, yes, we do need to regulate them. We can't just let our stress response run wild. Okay, that's true, but that's not enough. In managing things like anger management, that's not enough either. Guy I know on LinkedIn named Ed Dobby, psychologist, wrote a book about how you need to learn to master your anger. And he and I have had different attitudes or opinions about exactly what mastery means, but they're similar. And I think he's essentially right. I think we really do need to master not just anger, but all of our emotions. So then the question is, to me, what is mastery? And I'd get back to getting our needs met, because that's really the place to start. So there's certain emotions that we know that meet our needs, okay, or at least signify that our needs are being met. We know that when we're feeling love, a need is being met. When we feel joy, we know that maybe lots of different needs are being met. Now then there's other emotions that signify that our needs aren't being met in some way, and we need to do something specific to make sure that our needs are met. So excuse me, if we're feeling grief, then we need to let something go and reorganize our life. If we're feeling disgust, then we need to reject something. We need to expel something because something is poisoning us, and so we need to get away from it and get it away from us. If we're feeling fear, then we need to protect ourselves. If we're feeling anger, then somehow we need to set a limit. We need to put a stop to something and make sure that we're not attacked or encroached on anymore. If we're feeling, now there's a couple of others that kind of go with that maybe not quite as primary, but if guilt and shame tell us that our needs aren't being met, but that it's about something about us. It's either us personally or it's us, what we did. And so we need to do something about those. We need to do something about how we're dealing with the group or our behavior toward specific other people to make sure that our needs are met in the future and that we do get the love we need and feel the joy that we desire. So if we're getting our needs met, if we're mastering our needs, then for instance, if we're feeling sad, then we feel sad and we realize what it is we need to give up and how we need to reorganize our lives, and we do it. If we're feeling anger, then we know that we need to set a limit. We need to not blow up on somebody, just say, "Excuse me, you're stepping on my toes. Would you stop, please?" That's appropriate anger, and that's plenty most of the time. Now, there's some emotions, though, that no matter what we do, they're never going to meet our needs. Frustration is a classic part of human life. There's nothing we can do to avoid frustration. Frustration, though, is a sign that we want something and we're not able to get it. And I can say just categorically that if the world is a certain way and we want the world to be a different way, the problem, as reasonable as we sound to ourselves, the problem is not with the world, it's with us. We need to be able to realize that the world does not respond to what we want all the time, and that getting frustrated and staying frustrated, maintaining that frustration for over 5 minutes, is a sign that we're doing something not to adjust and move on and realize that this is just how the world is right now. And if we want to change how the world is in the future, then we need to do something to make that happen. Something productive and proactive. But that sitting and complaining is not going to get the job done. So frustration is one of those great examples of something that if it lasts more than 5 minutes, we haven't mastered it. We haven't learned what we need to learn from it and moved on. If shame or guilt or hostility, any of those things, and all of those have a tendency to last a very long time because we don't want to learn what they want to tell us. We don't want to accept that we made a mistake, that somebody is not going to do what we want them to do, no matter how much we push them into doing it, or whatever it is. And so those kinds of emotions are emotions that we can look at and say we haven't mastered. And those are emotions that take some adjustment from within us. But something like shame or guilt, if we look at it reasonably and we look at what it's saying and how it's formed, what it's saying about who we need to go try to reconnect with typically, and how we need to go about reconnecting with them. If we get into our pride and we're just not going to lower ourselves to doing that because they're wrong, then we haven't learned the lesson and we have not mastered that emotion. So that's sort of a brief overview on how to master an emotion and how to know whether you've mastered an emotion. How you know? 5-minute rule. If you're having problems with your emotions, you don't quite know how to master them, you need some help, contact me. That's what I'm here for. I love to help. I'm really good at this stuff. Bye.